Okay.
I love just defeating Seth emotionally before the show even begins. It's my favorite thing.
That definitely sounds like something I should report you to HR for. That is hostile work environment 101.
Lord.
And we actually have an intern in here today. So this is like
We
not
do
the
have an
day
intern.
to display
Who's the
how
intern?
terribly you guys
Who's
treat
the
me.
intern, Seth?
Welcome to the Friday Game Night Pickem Show here on AccessWDUN.com. Bo Wilson alongside the usuals, Jeff, Caleb, Walker, somewhere out there in the worldwide internet world, and the guy that,
I think it's called Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia. Yeah.
This week, next week, different location.
What?
Yeah. You're coming
Where
home.
will you be? Is it secret?
Surprise.
Surprise. And our producer, the guy that makes everything happen, Seth Chapman.
Yeah.
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
I'm impressed you got Walker's name right the first time.
Right. That's
That's the first time this week.
Walker,
this year.
Walter, you know.
Bo and I go way back, and he's gotten the Walter Walker thing whenever we get on a microphone. Every other time he gets it perfect, but it's whenever the microphones go live. I'm not sure what it is.
Something about the name.
Oh, I experienced the same thing, except where it's just getting your name wrong. It's just making my life as miserable as he possibly can. Like that's
Seth is hungry for Dairy Queen
and V8.
and V8.
I want a Heath Bar Blizzard.
I want to go home.
So
I want light on the chocolate, vanilla
Of
ice
all the
cream.
blizzards, you go for a Heath bar?
Oh, dude, that's the bomb. That's the bomb.
Heath bars aren't
You
bad.
got Reese's, you got Oreo, you got cookie dough, and you go for a Heath bar?
Did you say
Let's
Oreo?
rewind a little
Yes.
bit. This
Why?
is the same guy
We
that
already
does
established,
like
Caleb,
Oreos.
that he doesn't like Oreos.
I don't like Oreo.
Well, that's a problem in and of itself. That we don't have time to get into that today, though.
And you remember why he doesn't like Oreos? Because he gorged himself one time on Oreos, so it's all his fault.
It wasn't just one time. It was for like 5 years.
5 years.
Well,
by the way, just for context of the DQ conversations a moment ago, so we were trying to get Walker
Let's
on
not
Zoom,
rehash
and of
this.
course, I am giving the login information for show part 2, not part 1. So, and the fact that the keyboard was number locked.
The keyboard was just doing some weird stuff. Like even when even when the number lock was correctly done, like on off whatever, it just wouldn't do anything correctly. So
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Seth, and I'm going to say that keyboard did precisely what you typed into it.
I would agree with that. I'm going to agree with that.
I'm going to argue directly back, and between you and me arguing as if we're talking about a record here, I'm on the winning side of this record.
Oh, you talking about last week's lock?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you
I
got that
am.
one. You got that one.
Yeah, I am.
I felt good about him. It was 7-0 at halftime. There was a 32-point line.
At halftime,
you
you
ready for
felt
this?
good, and I felt bad, and then I ended up...
We were driving back from Jackson County, and he was like, "What was that Johnson score?" And I said, "They're showing 42-0." And he's like, "Take that, Caleb." He kept asking me, "What's the Johnson score?" And
the amount of crap I was going to catch from you was just continuously on my mind at halftime.
I wasn't even going to bring it up.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
Walker took Gainesville.
I believe that.
Gainesville minus 40.
Yeah.
Remind that. Yeah.
Oh, you feeling good
Well done
about
on my
that, or
part.
you feeling good about that, or something, Walker?
I mean, you should. You got the lock.
Anytime you
Yeah.
win a 40-point line is pretty good.
You took a line on a team that's like lost half their team in Appalachia. I mean, you really didn't go out on a limb that much, honestly.
You said you wouldn't get anywhere close to the 40 points, Jeff.
Well, that's what I said.
We could
but
check
I'm
the
just saying,
tape from last week's show.
We can.
It's been burned.
Yeah, we could check
It's
the
been
tape.
burned. Although I did rebound from my horrible 8-7 week the week before to go 15-2. Me and Walker both went 15-2. Seth went 14-3, and Bo and Caleb continue. Walker to just they're propping up the foundation here for the builders.
I feel that we're going to have to go back through the first 5 shows and double check Jeff's math, because I believe
I would be putting me in first
that
place.
you're pencil whipping us in these rankings.
Okay.
First of all,
let's rewind that. You're what?
Pencil whipping.
Okay.
Have you
What
never
does
heard
that
that?
mean?
I thought you said pencil.
Pencil whipping. That's
Pencil.
a term when you're
Yeah.
playing golf.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
I've never heard of that.
You've never heard
Is that
that?
a thing?
Yeah.
Yes,
Definitely
It's
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
just a play on pistol whip.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Week
None of
5
this.
was
What?
pretty much a kind of a dull week. Wouldn't you say so?
Well, dull for maybe
I
some
was-
people. There were a couple teams that are going, what are you talking about? It's a great week.
I know what he's talking about. It was a night of blowouts. I went to the only game that seemed to be even remotely competitive, which was the North Forsyth Jackson County game, which really was a great ball game, and loved to see North Forsyth. They really went old school. 7 offensive linemen, 3 D lines right behind that. With our all-access first-teamer Colin Miller taking the direct snap, and it was just like a wall, and they were just like, see if you can stop us, and they literally just ran over Jackson County in the second half.
That was very fun to watch.
It was really old school, and it was quite fun.
So did they do that more than once?
Oh yeah, they did two whole
Okay.
drives.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why you're so excited about it.
2 whole drives.
Old school football, Jeff gets excited about.
Love it.
The wishbone.
Give me the
heavy sets.
I want to bring back the 4 horsemen offense. I
Yeah.
really do.
Well, I'll go second here because I mentioned there were some teams that probably didn't agree with you about being a dull week.
Yeah.
Chief among them would be North Hall.
Well, of course.
Who, I mean, you want to talk about getting out of a funk offensively. Boy, that's a way to do it. You put up 69 points on the road at East Hall. Good Lord. I don't think, and you
Who
and
saw
I.
that coming? Nobody saw 69 points.
No, I
coming.
mean, you and I picked East Hall, Bo, but even the 3 here that picked North Hall, I'm willing to bet that none of the 3 of them saw that coming.
No.
Am I right about that?
I kept looking at that score like, holy cow, what's going on with that? I know East Hall has injuries.
It was a
I
lot
just
of
didn't know
frustration for North Hall offensively, taken out on East Hall.
who's missing some people.
Who was missing some people, but that's not to take away that North Hall almost have 500 total yards of offense and a brand new offense that has been very stagnant over the first 4 weeks.
And I do think North Hall, as they continue this transitionary period offensively, I think they might have, in that game, maybe figured out some things offensively as to maybe what their identity can be, which is a lot of option kind of read work with Tanner Marsh, a lot of screenplay to either A.J. Jones or Tate Ruth. I think they figured out some things offensively in that game. Now, are they necessarily challengers in 8-4A? Still TBD on that. But did they maybe take a step forward where maybe they can be competitive in some games down the line we didn't necessarily think they could be? Yeah, I think maybe so. And I think they might have gained some confidence as well
That's
in
what
that
I was
East
about
Hall
to-
game,
yeah.
which is maybe just as big as anything they figured out
Well,
X's and O's wise.
Confidence was huge for North Hall in that game, just from the standpoint of, hey, we can get things going.
Right.
Now, everybody talks about scrimmages or whatever you're doing, and that obviously was not a scrimmage, but it was something that North Hall was able to get their new spread offense kind of clicking.
Yeah. Look, Tate Ruth, who was not the projected starter coming into the season, has taken over that lead spot as kind of the one back, and he is shifty. He's got some speed. He's not real big, but I think that kind of gives him an advantage. And you got him, and you got A.J. Jones, who might be one of the fastest guys in the county.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get the ball to them and get some blocks on the perimeter, they can make some magic happen.
And that was the game against East Hall. I mean, that was really how they did it, was getting those guys the ball in space. And, I think we talked about A.J. Jones, like you said, Jeff, about maybe being one of the key playmakers for North Hall. And we hadn't really seen it all year. But I was talking to Coach Pender after the game, and we both kind of saw the same thing, which was that he was finally able to get loose in that game. They were finally able to get him some blocking out on the perimeter, like you talked about, and you finally got to see that explosiveness from A.J. Jones that we had thought was there, that we had talked about, hadn't got to actually see it in a game yet to that point. We finally got to see it because of what North Hall was able to do offensively in that game.
Well, the offensive line has been an issue, and if they can get that continue to work out, A.J. Jones could be kind of an X factor in 8-4A, but and I say that because he's a guy that can take it to the house on every play. He's got moves, he's got speed. You got to give him some space, and getting the offensive line straightened out is going to have to continue to be their number one priority. If they can do that, they might have a chance to make some noise.
Yeah, you called last week dull, Bo. I love it. Offense, points. There's nothing dull about that. Yes, the score lines may have been, off balance and whatnot, but I love seeing points on the board. That's what makes high school football fun. As much as I love an occasional defensive struggle, I'd much rather see 35, 42 points put up on the scoreboard every single week. I love it.
You young people just don't appreciate a good defensive game.
Hey, how about Banks County? Let's give a tip of the hat for a moment to Banks County.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
that was my lock of the week. I felt pretty good about
since
that.
1991, and they have a shot going in against Commerce.
That could be one of the better games of the week
later on. But Banks County, interesting because talking to Coach Jay Reed last week, he was talking a little bit about offensive line play improving, that needed to get better, and of course Andrew Shockley. Who is number 2 or 3
he's
in the state?
He's second in 2A. I think he's the leading rusher in 8-2A.
Yeah, so he's been big and for them and real key. So they really haven't had to throw the ball that much.
No, they haven't. Look, it's my kind of thing. Sweep right, sweep left. Let's see if we can hit some gaps inside. I like that kind of football, honestly, and if you're able to run the ball, you control the ball, you control the clock, you can keep the other team off the scoreboard and give your defense a rest. I think it's essential, and the way the Banks County plays and the kind of personnel they have, if they can keep their offensive line healthy and intact, and keep Shockley intact, because you get 20 or 30 carries a night, you have a chance to break down toward the end of the year. But right now, you got to like what they're doing. They're finally getting what I think Jay Reed has wanted there in his 5 years, I think, now.
Well, and also and we said this about Lumpkin County earlier in the year, and the same thing applies really to them as it does to Banks, but I just love seeing programs that have struggled for as long as Banks County has struggled. Lumpkin County, you could lump in with this. Actually, just
anybody.
I don't know if Banks County is going to be a team that can make a playoff run. I don't know how much of a shot they've got against Commerce this week, but I don't really care because I'm just glad to see these kids and these communities that have been struggling for so long. Endured. Get to see some success. Get to have some fun. We're only 5 weeks into the season. Yeah, we haven't really played the most meaningful games, but who cares, man? For these places that haven't had wins like this in a while, it's about confidence, and also at the end of the day, just let these people have some fun, man.
Absolutely.
And the people at Banks County and Lumpkin County right now are getting to have fun during football season, which is something they have not gotten to do in a while.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And it's great to see.
Well, speaking of Commerce Banks, let's go ahead and start with the picks. Commerce at Banks County. Again, this one has a lot of intrigue on it because when you look at this game, you're going to have 2 rushing attacks going at each other. I don't know if you give Commerce maybe the upper hand in this game because they do kind of have the baby goat Jakari Huff effect going on over there in Commerce. Kind of a 2-headed monster where Banks County has Shockley. But this game could get over quick.
Well, yeah, and I'll go first on this one. I'll go ahead and say my pick. I'm picking Commerce. Here's the reason. Yes, Banks County's 4-0. Yes, Commerce is 2-2. But do a look at the schedules real quick for those two, and look at who Commerce has played so far this season. Southside Christian, Murphy out of North Carolina, Lincoln County, Hebron Christian. It has been a murderer's row of a non-region schedule for Commerce. By the way, that's going to continue now that Banks County is good, which we didn't necessarily think was going to be the case maybe preseason.
Right.
So it only makes their non-region schedule that much tougher. But I think Commerce, more battle-tested at this point, they're not going to see anything in this game that now doesn't mean they can't lose, but they're not going to see anything in this game that they haven't already seen so far this season. And so I think Commerce with that experience, and I do agree with what you say about everything you say about Jaden Daniels and Jakari Huff is absolutely correct. But I think for me, Commerce, Banks County, I think might see something this week they haven't seen yet this year. And I don't think you can say that about Commerce. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, and also historically, Commerce has dominated this series all time.
32-2.
And I think that plays a bigger factor at the high school level than it does at the higher levels of football. So all those things said, taking Commerce.
I'll go the other way. I'm going to go Banks County in this one, and it's for all of those reasons, except Banks County uses that as a little bit of, a chip on the shoulder. Nobody's giving Banks County the confidence in this game. The Commerce is the favorite. They're, the team that everybody expects to win. They always win in this game. Banks County is undefeated. They've got a fantastic offense and Andrew Shockley running the football. I think that, like you said, Caleb, this is one of those that Commerce has seen Banks County before. Banks, or stuff like Banks County. Banks County may not have seen what Commerce can bring to the table, but it's a home game in Homer. It's a rivalry game, and Banks County undefeated right now and has some momentum, while Commerce, they're 2-2, even though it's a very strong 2-2. I like the home team in this one in a very close game, and I think the Leopards end up pulling out just the third win in the series history.
Well, two things there. Number one, if I was a Banks County fan, I would be very happy that you picked that because you've been much better this year than me. Second off, I agree with you completely about what you're saying about Banks County maybe feeling a little slighted or disrespected. Listen, if I'm Jay Reed, I'm taking everything that I just said, and listen, like I told Tommy Jones on the Scoreboard Show a couple weeks ago, I have no qualms about being used as bulletin board material.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
permission.
I'm gonna, for everything y'all just said, Banks County is a 3-point favorite. I think Commerce takes that as like, wait a second, we're an underdog against a program that hasn't beaten us since 1993. I think Commerce uses that. Plus, I think I'm going to go the 2 versus 1. They have a 2-headed running back monster compared to just the one for Banks County. I think that they'll be a little more fresh in the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what this game has traditionally been, but I think Commerce wins this.
Look, guys, last year it was only a 10-0 loss for Banks County.
It was close last year.
It was close last year.
It was.
I think the game's going to come down to Ken Griffith, the quarterback. I think it's going to come down to quarterback,
But
Jeff.
that first game was in the first week, and they didn't have Jaden Daniels.
And that's fine. That's fine. Still, it was a 10-0 game. So you got a 3-point favorite. Those are crap anyway. I mean, really, they are. But you look at this game, I think it's going to come down to quarterback play because Banks County has not thrown the ball a whole lot. Commerce doesn't throw the ball that much as well. They have Shockley. If Ken Griffith, the quarterback, can get his game going, and Coach said last week that they really haven't had the opportunity or really needed to throw the football. I think they might need to throw the football this week. So it's going to come down to quarterback play in this one with Andrew Shockley. I'm going to go with Banks County in this game to pull. Well, it's not an upset, apparently, because they're favorite. But Banks County in this one.
Seth, you're the tiebreaker here.
I suppose I am. Well,
What?
Well,
I feel like I'm situating myself.
Well, I hope he puts that little segment on the show because you haven't made your pick.
No, I haven't, but I'm going Commerce.
Okay.
There you go.
I've been having a lot of luck just going with my gut instinct.
Oh,
this
really?
time around,
Or riding
your
the
gut
coattails
instinct
Or picking what Walker picks.
Yeah.
when I'll be more specific. When I'm not riding Walker's coattails, my gut has done me well.
That's why you're in second.
Yeah, exactly. My gut's been
always on the coattail.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I just need to just go right with it. But I have a feeling about Commerce this time around.
Okay.
All right, Walnut Grove at East Forsyth. This one, an interesting game. East Forsyth, if you have looked back at what has happened or transpired between these two teams, Walnut Grove lost to Cedar Shoals. East Forsyth pulled off the upset win 3 weeks ago against Cedar Shoals. Can you use that as preparation if you're East Forsyth? Coach Allison says a little bit. I talked to him earlier this week in this game. Walnut Grove, Coach Allison says they're a much better team than they were last year. But East Forsyth we talked about Banks County and we talked about Lumpkin County, being undefeated and, the first time in a long time. Well, I think it's just as big for East Forsyth because this is their second year in the program. They are undefeated right now. They are 1-0 in the region. This game right here doesn't put them in the playoffs if they win it, but it puts them up there, at least sitting beside the bus driver.
Look, I think
I'm gonna go ahead and make my pick in this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with East Forsyth in this one. It is at home. I think East Forsyth riding a high, and I think they have. This game is in front of them, and I do believe that they will win this game.
Look, after you talked to Coach Allison, and we talked a little bit about what he had to say, that he sees something a little different about this group that that he feels like they're way beyond where they probably should be as a second-year program. Does that mean they're ahead of what they really should be? Are they going to start taking a step back? I've seen Walnut Grove in person. A big offensive line. They're pretty big on defense. They've got their quarterback is very smart, very shifty, and they have a really good running back. But I'm also going to go with East Forsyth in this. I feel like there's some magic brewing there a little bit this year. And if they go 2-0 in the region, I mean, they would almost have to lose out not to be in the playoffs. This is a huge game. We know Coach Allison. He's going to have his guys ready. And I think there's just a lot of excitement brewing over there right now, with the Broncos. I think Walnut Grove may be the better team, but I am going to go with East Forsyth because I just feel like there's something there right now.
Well, I think there is some magic brewing out there, and this is the biggest game in program history because if you look ahead at the schedule, we know East Hall's struggling right now. We also know East Hall is a very banged-up football team, both physically and kind of emotionally right now. That's who East Forsyth plays next. So if you could win this game, yes, you're 2-0 in the region. You are also staring 3-0 in the region right in the face if you can win this ball game because that East Hall game looks very, very winnable for East Forsyth. So, this is a huge game. You might be in the playoffs if you win this one Friday night.
You put yourself in a great position.
I'm taking Walnut Grove. I'm taking Walnut Grove on the road because what travels...
It wasn't a left turn. That was a U-turn.
That was a Lee Corso type of pick.
Yeah,
not so fast, my
Not so
friend.
fast.
No, that was like the meme where you see the car flying down the interstate.
Yes,
it gets
that
off the
exact
exit at
meme.
the last second.
Big build up and then just pop the balloon.
What travels better than anything offensively? Running game.
Run game.
That's what Walnut Grove's got. I'm going to take that in the offensive line because what is the thing? And to be fair, now I haven't seen East Forsyth in person yet this year. But what is the thing that a young program usually struggles with the most? It's depth and line of scrimmage play. That is what Walnut Grove's going to attack with what they're bringing in.
When I went to the scrimmage with East Forsyth and White County, I know that's not regular season, but they had a big defensive line. They had a big offensive line. Against that White County team. Now, White County made some adjustments, but East Forsyth, it was young, it was big, and it looks like they're making some progress. So, this is definitely a game. This could be a one up front. Whichever group can control that, I think wins this game.
And by the way, Walnut Grove has not made the playoffs for a while either now.
Right.
And they know that if they lose this game, the playoffs are going to be very difficult to make. So this is both teams have a lot of importance on this game.
I don't know how I follow that analysis from Caleb, so I'll just say I've got Walnut Grove in this one.
Look who's following coattails now.
Oh.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I guess
he's at the bottom, by the way, Walker. Just remember that.
I guess this is coattails to be riding.
I guess this is a week for changing tides and coattails, I suppose. I am going East Forsyth on this one.
Seth breaks the tiebreaker again, and he goes against Walker
how about
again.
So Seth is
He's going to hate
Jeff's
his
coattails
record
now.
come Saturday morning.
My record with East Forsyth has been very good.
It has been good.
It has been.
It has been good. All right, Whitfield Academy at Rabun County in a just massive game, non-region game between these two programs.
Salivating at this one.
You want to go first, Jeff?
Sure.
Have
Y'all
at
want
it.
me to go first? This is going to be one of the best games in the state right here. I don't think there's any doubt about it. You look
Jeff was raving about this game when I came in this
That's
morning.
That's why I said, Jeff, you want to go first.
You've got the passing attack with Rabun County. They're number one in Class A Division I, 40 points a game, and they've got 3 Division I guys on Whitfield Academy. They got a defensive end that's 6'6", 375. They've got a linebacker that's already got 73 tackles.
Did you say a defensive end that's 6'6", 375?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
And they've got a linebacker with 73 tackles in 4 games. I mean, that's almost 20 a game. So he's all over the field, and they have 4 defensive backs with 2 interceptions each. So Rabun County is going to have all they can handle with this. Now Rabun County's defense is underrated. Look what they did with Stevens County. They won that game defensively. This is going. I think Rabun again is going to find a game where yardage is going to be hard to come by. They won a game with less than 200 yards, but that was the second game. And when I talked to did a preview story on this earlier in the week, talked to Michael Davis. That was their second game. Keegan Stover was still integrating himself in the offense. The kids were still trying to get to know each other. He was getting, how am I going to be a head coach? And he told me, he goes, I made some terrible calls in that game. I think that they're going to learn from that mistake. I mean, this could be a 10-7 game, even with these two offenses that are light. I mean, they're averaging 80 points a game combined. But I'm going to go with Rabun County. I think they learned, even though they won that game against Stephen County, I think that they learned something. But this is going to be a great game. I'm going to go with the local team with the offense, even though I'm a defensive guy. I know I don't see them being shut down twice in one season like that. So I'm going to go with Rabun. But this is going to be a fantastic ball game.
I'll go Rabun as well, but purely because it's in Tiger. I mean, if this game is not in Tiger, it's much closer, but to have to make that trip all the way up to Clayton and, it's such a tough place to play. I'll take Rabun County. It is close. I think, like Jeff said, it's one of, if not the best games in the state of Georgia this week. But I take the home team, Rabun County.
All right, well, I'll go third. I've got Rabun County, too, and I think, as you mentioned, their defense has already proven they can win a ball game once. And for everything you just said about what maybe Whitfield Academy's defense might be able to do in this game, I don't think they're going to slow Rabun County down by enough. I think Rabun County wins a competitive game. And I think I agree it could be a low-scoring game, but I do think Rabun County pulls it out.
I got to agree with what Walker said just a minute ago. I mean, they have to go to Rabun County. I think that's probably the upper hand because that's a long trip.
Got to go across the gorge.
That's a long trip for them. From what we'll figure out.
They were
Mableton.
So they're on the other side of Cobb County and got. Oh my God, that's a horrible drive.
I'm going to roll with Rabun County in this one.
I'm going to roll with Rabun Town.
That is surprising.
That was a great use of words.
Struggling today.
Use those words.
Rabun Towns?
Rabun 2. I give up today, guys. I just.
All right, guys, let's roll down to Pickens at Lumpkin County, a big Region 7-3A matchup between these two teams. And Pickens coming into this thing 1-3, and Lumpkin undefeated at 4-0. And you look at this Pickens team, and we've looked at it all year, and we've said, well, Pickens is not what we thought they were going to be. Now, talking to Heath Webb earlier this week, he says that record is very deceiving. And he also spoke about how Lumpkin and Pickens are kind of similar in what athletes they have. So this one is kind of a toss-up, but I'll start here.
Okay.
I'm going to pick the Indians in this one because it is at the burial grounds. And I think Lumpkin is riding such a high right now and playing so well, I believe that it won't even be a question here. I think Lumpkin wins in this one.
Well, we know Walker's going to pick Lumpkin, so we'll skip him because, the Indians have to stick together, right?
I don't even get to give my analysis on my alma mater.
Sure. Sure. Go ahead.
He's going to have the best analysis.
Yeah,
here
of course.
Out of all of us, I want to hear
He's in Virginia.
Walker, go.
It doesn't matter. I still cover them from up here, Jeff. You know this.
Okay. I want to hear this. Go ahead.
I think the big thing here, and like Jeff said, picking Lumpkin County, I think the big thing here is that Lumpkin's coming off of a bye. They've gotten a little bit banged up, especially in that game against Temple. They've had some nagging injuries and, little tweaks here and there. Everybody's still played through it, but it's a chance to get healthy going into region play. I think that's big. I think playing at home is big. That homecoming crowd against Temple was the biggest crowd that the Burial Grounds has seen in quite some time for a football game. I think that crowd comes back out again this week. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. I'm excited to keep up with this game from a distance. I think Lumpkin County wins, and I think they win it pretty handily.
You were talking about kind of the nicks and bruises that Lumpkin County's got right now. Cooper Scott, was it him that had the ankle kind of tweak in the Temple game? That, to me, is a huge key in this game. How mobile is Cooper Scott right now? Because right now, kind of as he goes, the offense goes. And so that's a big key to me. But I am taking Lumpkin County at home. This is going to be the biggest game that stadium has seen in quite a while. That place is going to be rocking, just like both the two of you said. I'm taking Lumpkin County off a bye week at home. I will say, though, very, very interested in Cooper Scott's health. I think that's a very big key in this game.
He could be a scooper if there is a fumble.
It could be a scooper. The Cooper
Looks
scooper.
like none of us are doing great with our words today, guys.
No, none of us.
We are struggling. I'm going to go with Lumpkin County, too. I was there to witness that homecoming crowd, and man, was it something, and that Lumpkin team has got something really special. I'm going with them.
I'm going to make it a sweep on the Indians. You know, they have not had a turnover all year. I mean, that's just amazing for
I didn't know that.
For any football team at this point in the season of 4 or 5 games.
You just jinxed them. Good job, Jeff.
I'm just
I'd have
pointing
fumbled
out
the opening snap of the game.
Oh no, they won't. But I agree. I think that I think Lumpkin actually has more to prove in this game than Pickens. Pickens was picked to be in the playoff. Lumpkin was picked 6th.
Right.
Everybody thought they would be better, but they wouldn't have a chance to sniff the playoffs. The way they're playing right now, I mean, you might have to give them the early favorite to win the region title, which
either them or Gilmer.
Yeah.
Either them or
and
Gilmer
so
at this point.
I really think Lumpkin, and I think Heath Webb is playing this up a little bit. They still have a lot to prove to people because they just haven't been good for so long. And here they are undefeated. They're pushing the envelope of great starts in program history. But how many times have we run across the last couple of weeks or said ourselves, are they for real? Well, I think we're going to find out this week. I mean, that Temple game was really huge in the fact that they built a big lead. They had some diversity come their way. Not diversity, some adversity. And there you go. It was my turn to mess up a word.
It's allergic.
Apparently
allergic.
so. But they had some adversity.
Yeah. It is contagious.
Contagious and allergic.
Get it off of me.
I'm allergic to grammar, apparently.
Apparently, we all are today. My goodness.
I've not called Walter Walker yet, so.
Your time's coming, Bo.
You just
did it. You said I never called Walter Walker.
See how smooth I was in that? Yeah.
I thought he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
He probably did.
Yeah, I
but
did do.
Yeah, no, you don't think so?
I don't think he did it on purpose.
Yeah. Well, so, that's why I'm going with them. I think they have a lot to prove to people. And I think that they're going to use this game to do that and show that not only are we good, we're playing well, but we're for real.
I think they proved a little bit against Temple that they're
that
for real.
was the fact that they hung on was, but one game does not a season make. Once is and I'm not no slight, but when you look at the history things, once is a fluke, twice is a pattern. You got to do it once or twice, 3 times before people really believe it. So, if they build a big lead and hang on to it again against Pickens, we're going to look, hey, they can play with the lead. If they get behind and come back and win, I think they have a lot more to prove than Pickens does. And I think that's being at home, with the week off. Even if Cooper Scott is 75%, I think they can win this game. I think they have a lot to prove to people.
Yeah, and watch the defense with Will Wood. He's been an absolute impact player on the defensive side for the Indians, and I think that's the big key as well, to be able to try and contain Pickens and those and the athletes that they do have over there in Jasper.
We talk a lot about the offense and how much they're scoring, but their defense, there's 2 teams in 3A that are in the top 5 in both offense and defense. One is Savannah Christian, and they're in tops in both, and Lumpkin is the other. So I think after 4 games, you can kind of say, hey, they're putting some patterns together. So, but I just think playing with a chip on their shoulder, nobody still really, I think, believes that they're this good. So this is their chance to prove it this week. I think Heath Webb, and he's the kind of coach, he knows how to get his guys up and do that. So I'm kind of surprised we all took Lumpkin but I really like what's going on up there.
So let's move into the Pickem portion of the show, the rundown. Buford at Marietta. Now, I was doing a little bit of research on this game, and I went to the Historians Association, and I clicked on Marietta's schedule and went, holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
Their entire schedule, minus West Forsyth, was ranked in the top 10.
Yes.
3 of them in 7A, 1 of them in 6A. Now they get number 1 Buford in Class 7A in this one. I don't know if that does anything for you guys, if that says you're going to pick Marietta, but to me, it says wow. But I'm going with Buford.
Look, I agree. I'm going with Buford also. Marietta, I think their 3 losses are by like 24 points. I mean, it's been close. That's a team that won the state title a couple years ago. We don't know how many of these guys were prominent players on that team, but they were in the atmosphere. They understand how to win. But we saw that last week with Carver Atlanta. I mean, they took Buford toe to toe in the second half, and then Buford just drove the bus and they went off. And I see the same thing. I think Marietta can keep it close. But I think Buford's just too good for everybody right now. I think they'll probably still win this game by at least 2 touchdowns.
Buford cannot turn the ball over like they did against North Cobb. I don't think they will. I've got Buford winning on the road.
Buford.
The Wolves.
Bluff at North Hall. I'll start this one, Cherokee Bluff.
I'll go Cherokee Bluff, too. I think they are starting to kind of come into their own. As much as I think North Hall figured some things out, I think this Cherokee Bluff team is just a little ahead of where they're at right now.
I agree. I'm going to go with Cherokee Bluff. It was nice to see North Hall kind of, get off the mat a little bit last week. But Cherokee Bluff's defense is much, much better than East Hall's. Their offense is much, much better than East Hall. And I just don't know if North Hall yet has enough that can win this game, even at home with a lot of momentum. But it might be closer than we might think.
I was about to say the same thing. Bluff close.
Bluff.
East Hall at Cedar Shoals. Cedar for me.
Yeah, I'll take Cedar Shoals too. All the things I said earlier. East Hall is a battered football team right now, both physically and kind of emotionally. I think at this point.
I agree. I'm going to go with Cedar Shoals.
Cedar Shoals.
Jackson County at Appalachia. I'll go with the Panthers in this one.
Panthers.
Jackson.
Panthers.
Look, that's a pretty good team over there that lost to North Forsyth last week. I mean, they were really doing some stuff offensively.
They're so close.
They were moving the ball, and and then the North Forsyth defense just kind of took control there a little bit. I mean, it was 3-0 Jackson County. 5 games in a row they've had the halftime lead. They just got to learn how to keep it going in the second half. But Appalachia is a banged up team, kind of a lot like East Hall. I think Jackson they should win this comfortably.
Right pick.
Panthers.
Okay.
Yeah, Jackson got it.
Jefferson at Clark Central. This game kind of I'm a head scratcher at this one, but I think Jefferson's going to roll into Athens and win it.
I think so too.
Agreed.
Dragons.
I think so. Clark Central you look at their offensive numbers, it's really weird for this year. They're like 200 yards on the ground and like 60 yards passing. It's completely reversed than what we've seen. I just don't know if they have enough to get by Jefferson.
They also can be very turnover prone. Clark Central can be.
Everybody pick Jefferson?
Yeah, everybody picked Jefferson.
Okay. Johnson at East Jackson.
East Jackson's starting to kind of figure things out right now. So at home, I got the Eagles. I think they're playing with momentum right now.
Yeah,
Completely
Eagles for me.
Yeah, Eagles as well.
Eagles.
Lanier at Habersham Central. I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one.
Yeah, I got the Raiders too.
Yeah, this is a tough game. Another team, they've led every game in the fourth quarter. The ones that they've lost. This is a huge game. Traditionally, Lanier has owned this series, but I feel good about where Habersham is moving forward. I'm going to go, but this ought to be a really, really good ball game. I'm going with Habersham.
That's where you were going.
Okay, sorry.
You said I'm going to go.
I was going to try to pull a
and then you
U-turn.
just-
I was going to pull a U-turn like he did.
That didn't work.
No, it didn't.
Who else?
Who's next?
I'm going back and forth on it. I guess I'll go Habersham. I think it's really, 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 really close, though.
Agreed.
North Oconee at Chestatee. I'm going to hit the Titans in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go North Oconee.
North Oconee.
No-co.
That's what, 5? Straight 5? Yeah, because there's 5 of us now.
Okay.
Oglethorpe County at Riverside Military.
I'll go with Oglethorpe.
Oglethorpe.
Yeah,
Oglethorpe.
the Patriots. They're still the Patriots, right?
They
Yes.
are.
They are.
Pinecrest Academy at Lanier. I think LCA gets back on track after that overtime loss last week. LCA in this one.
LCA.
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 Shiloh at Nofo.
Well, this is another one. I thought this was one of the toughest games to pick because Shiloh is much better than the record. North Forsyth played really well last week. I think North Forsyth, that might be the game that gets them going this year to a more consistent. I'm going to go with the Raiders, but this could go down to the last drive.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Raiders as well.
Yeah, I've got the Raiders too. Their defense is
Yeah.
with the exception of one game at Creekview.
Yeah.
The rest of the year, their defense has been lights out.
And I will tell you, I talked to Kraft about that game, and he said Creekview will be in the playoffs. He said that might be the best team that they played all year, that they were missing some things, and they got everything going. They got everybody back. And he predicted that Creekview team, even though they were winless coming into that game, he predicted that team will be in the playoffs. So,
Strong Rock. Did you pick?
Yes.
Okay, Strong Rock Christian at Lakeview Academy.
This is a
Lakeview at home.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Lakeview in this one.
This is another one of those hard games because Strong Rock's pretty good. I'll take Lakeview at home. But
I'm
it
going to
could
go
be
with
close.
Strong Rock.
I'll go Lakeview.
So everybody but Caleb took Lakeview.
Correct.
Okay.
This is correct.
West Hall at Dawson County.
Dawson County.
Dawson County.
Tigers.
Yeah, Tigers here. All right, guys, there you have it. Our Pickem portion rundown of the show. Now let's move into
New
the
segment.
locks.
New segment.
Yeah,
Lock
you gotta
of the
come
week.
Up, you got to come up with something for lock of the week.
Let's see. Did
It's
everybody,
just the new segment bit. I just like it a lot.
Oh, do you?
who won last week?
I won.
I won
Only
mine.
person that lost
Seth
was
won
Kate.
and I lost.
Well,
We don't have
Seth,
to-
look, Seth is 5-0, so I guess Seth gets the honors of seeing who he's going to screw over here.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, I have not looked at them, so as usual.
Bo, that's probably why you're on bottom this year. Your prep work is really lacking
He's
this
got
year.
a lot to do, I guess.
Well,
Not really.
I kind of like it
Not
if
really.
we were to do the show.
Makes me do all the
like
work.
the initial concept was to sit down here and just pick them on the show, but I mean, everybody just kind of goes and does their thing now, like you. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, you go.
What's?
Oh, Seth, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Seth
Pick
gets
Seth.
to go first.
Oh, yay.
You are 5-0.
I'm going to take. I think Jackson County covers.
Jackson
That
County
was
covers,
not
okay.
my number one pick, but that was
Okay.
on my sheet. So
Okay.
Jackson County covers.
that's a good one.
Wow.
It wasn't my number one because I figured it would be picked. So
That was a great assumption there.
All right. Who's second?
it's either me or Jeff who wants to.
Let's see. Hold on. I think I'm 4-1. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Play
4-1
rock
as
paper
well.
scissors
Walker
for
is-
it. Rock paper scissors for it.
You can go first, Walker. I'll let you have it.
Nah, he just doesn't want to play rock paper scissors.
That's fair. I'm going to go Walnut Grove +6. I picked Walnut Grove to win that one outright. I think East Forsyth has got something going there at Half Mile High Stadium, but I think Walnut Grove comes in and wins this by at least a touchdown.
I did not have that on my board. So
Interesting.
interesting pick.
I am going to go with Whitfield Academy plus
Wow.
18. I mean, that 18-point favorite, again,
That looked like a touch
that-
much to me.
that is way too much in
It's
that
a
game.
lot, but I just don't like picking against Raven and
I don't-
Tiger on those
look,
spreads.
I agree. I definitely don't, but you know, I really think this is going to be like a down to the wire game. I really do. So
right.
I can't believe 18 points. That's all that. That was my. Thank y'all for not picking that, by the way.
All right, so I know. Well, I'm going to wait on Bo, and then whichever one he doesn't take is the one I'm going to take.
I
so.
think I'm going to go with Bluff to cover. In this
I
one.
didn't have that either.
Yep. I think that's who I'm going to go with.
That was my
Man.
backup.
Yeah.
That one was my backup.
All right, so I'm going to take my first pick here, which is LCA -16. Give me Lanier Christian
Yeah.
-16.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's a
At
good
home.
pick.
What was your number two, just out of curiosity?
My number 2 is Jackson County, and then my number 3 was going to be North Forsyth minus, what are they, -4 or -6
-4, yeah.
at home against Shiloh?
Yes, that's correct.
I that Commerce +3, taking Commerce because I picked them to win that game was very intriguing. But I don't know. That 18 at Raven County just jumped at me the first time you sent those over. I knew that was the one I was going to take. But that Commerce I think is interesting. That I think they're going to win that game outright. So +3 almost would have been a
And
lot.
nobody's going near the Banks County Commerce.
No,
Yeah,
No one's going near.
Yeah.
no,
It's kind of interesting.
it was very interesting.
All right, Caleb, what you got on the tailgate show tonight?
Well, you caught up with Brian Allison early in the week. We're going to hear that interview. We're also going to preview the Cherokee Bluff North Hall game. And then, we got prizes to give away, Bo. We got free food. We got free gas. We got Howard Brothers stuff to give away. So we're going to be busy all night long.
5:50 game of the week is Beaufort at Marietta. 102.9 is that Walnut Grove East Forsyth game. And over on the lake, it's Bluff at North Hall. So, yes, enjoy our broadcast. Also, you can stream all those games at accesswdun.com. And don't forget to go to the Friday Game Night page to check out highlights, stories, photos, and more from Friday night's action or tonight's action. And also, you can follow along tonight on our Twitter, Friday Game Night, as we will post scores and updates there as well. For the entire broadcast crew, enjoy week number 6, everyone. Done that.
Yeah, that's what I was curious
Caleb
about.
already has a guy that has a man crush on him.
Those Lang Camaro long.
It's not behind me.
And here's
it's
the
under
deal.
this desk.
I know. I'm going to try to go hard shot off the wall.
If you go look,
will never
Hey
make
guys,
that.
turn it off. I'm talking to Walker. If you go look on the.
Turn me back on.
Dude. What do you? Okay. If you go, why did that just do that?
I still hear you.
Anyway, so there's a guy. If you go look at the comments on the last show,